Every year, the National March for Life takes place in downtown Ottawa, with thousands of pro life Canadians making their way to Parliament Hill to demand, among other things, an end to abortion. This comes amid Canada having no abortion laws and over 87,000 abortions taking place in 2021 alone. I went to the March for Life to ask some of the people there about their pro-life convictions, as well as why they are attending this rally. Do you want to tell me why you're pro-life and why you're here?
So I'm pro-life because I believe that life begins at conception. That's just biology, but also I'm a Christian, and so I believe that every life has value, no matter how small, no matter what age, what stage at development you are.
The root of my pro-life stance would be my faith in Jesus. I'm a Christian. And I think if you adhere to the Bible, I don't think there's any other option than to be pro-life.
Well, I'm pro-life because my mother saved me. I have 4 siblings, and I'm very happy. I was brought up in a poor family, but we had plenty to eat.
We definitely believe that life begins at conception. And because we're Christians, there are a lot of scriptures that say that.
And the life comes from God. God is the one that gives life. God is the one that takes life. And we should be living in a culture of life. What's happening now is we've moved into a culture of death and chaos, and everything is going downhill.
I was in my devotions this morning, and out of Jeremiah 1, the Lord is speaking to Jeremiah that he knew him even while he was in his mother's womb, and that he had a destiny as a prophet to the nations even then. So we're here to celebrate life, but not only just life, but that each and every one of us have a destiny. We have a purpose, we're here for a purpose, and we're here to fulfill the purposes of God.
We're here just to represent the unborn. Abortion is an atrocity, and we got to call it what it is. It's murder, and we're here to speak out against that.
Yeah, we're followers of Christ. We run a Christian youth organization, and we follow the commandments. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not kill. So we're here to represent that, and we're here to stand up against that.
I also wanted to ask attendees about the overturning of Roe versus Wade in the United States, because while it has been a victory for the American pro-life movement and has led to several states enacting legislation to protect preborn children, here in Canada, it has fueled pro-abortion rhetoric. Hence, I wanted to know what impacts the people at the March for Life thought the overturning of Roe versus Wade had on the Canadian pro-life movement.
What impacts do you think the overturning of Roe versus Wade has had, particularly on the Canadian pro-life movement and the life discourse in Canada?
I think it was encouraging for a lot, but it's also created a lot more controversy, and it put the issue back in the spotlight for a bit. It's an issue that a lot of people wish to overlook, but I mean, the way I look at it is when slavery was going on, people were okay with that, and it was normalized, and they were desensitized to it. And I think the murder of millions of babies is the same issue. We're going to look back on that, and our grandkids are going to ask us why we didn't do anything.
I don't know. I think it's given us some
A determination.
Determination that it can be done. It's given us a little bit more of a push that we can continue to do things like this, and our voice is being heard.
Yeah, it's really important that we as Canadians, we need a law. Yes. We don't have a law. So things are carte blanche in the nation that we can do whatever. So seeing that restoration of Roe v. Wade is really positive for Canada. I'll tell you, it has those on the left, Hillary Clinton just being here in the nation, just standing up and saying that they need to hold their ground. But I think we need a law. We need a law that is like a magnetic hill that'll pull us up into the place of righteousness.
I think that we need to be very cautious. Things could backfire on us, and that's not the idea. The idea is to walk forward and promote the culture of life, because as we can see, when we embrace the culture of death, it gets worse all the time. Just to look at euthanasia, MAID. I mean, it's becoming available for every. It's the way to go. It's the culture of death is seen by so many now as the merciful way to help the vulnerable and the marginalized.
And it's so
right?
wrong.
And exactly.
Any good result when that sort of looks to reduce the amount of abortions going on in any given country is cause for hope in Canada. You know, because things trickle down, trickle up, spread out, right? So whatever goes on, especially when it comes to the U.S.-Canadian relationship, quite often whatever happens there happens here, both in good things and in bad things. So, you know, we don't have the same situation here that Roe v. Wade has. Our R.V. Morgentaler is absolutely something completely different, but it still gives hope. And people say, aha, like they didn't think that was going to happen in the States so soon. 50 years it took. So we've been marching for 26 years. So let's hope that doesn't take us another 14 years, but we'll see.
Well, I think it's an encouragement because it was a bad decision all those years ago, and even those who were the defendants in it didn't support the decision that was made. It needed to be overturned on the basis of just legal judgment. At the Canadian end, it reminds us that with prayer and care and, what do I say, non-polemical witness a lot of times, like talking to people about the real issues involved, not just shouting at each other, but actually getting to know each other, listening to one another, listening to the concerns of those who oppose any kind of abortion laws, say. You know, what are they concerned about? What do we think the issues are? But the fact that changes could be made, that's a big deal. The fact that in Canada there's been a little of digging in the heels in government circles or something is a problem, but I think there's an encouragement for those in the pro-life movement.
To support True North's ongoing work of bringing quality, independent journalism to Canadians like you, please visit donate.tnc.news. For True North, I'm Elie Cantin-Nantel.